Yogis, Kit Kat here. Welcome to this flow this morning. It's not really a flow, it's a stretch for the neck and shoulders. So if you are working from home and you're either typing away at your desktop or sitting at your couch like I do, sometimes the neck just gets a little bit tense. So this next 10-15 minutes is just for you to stretch that out. So I'm taking a seat here in Hero's Pose. You're more than welcome to sit on a block or a bolster. You can even do this in Sukhasana. I just find that this is the easiest place for me to sit for this neck stretching, giving me a little bit of height, allowing the belly to come into the spine, so I'm lengthening through the back body as well. So come and join me on the mat. We're going to release the hands down by the side. I'm going to invite you to take an inhale breath, reach up nice and high, take a gaze towards the fingertips, and we're going to drop the right hand down to the left knee, and this left hand is just going to reach for the toes. Take an inhale breath as you lift up, and as you exhale, see if you can deepen that stretch. The trick's going to be here to keep both hips planted on both heels, so you're not releasing that hip. And you can engage the belly to do that. As you inhale, lengthen through the back body. Exhale, gaze over that shoulder. One more breath. And then we're going to inhale the arms back up overhead, reaching all the way up to the sky, lengthening through the back body, gaze towards the fingertips. As you exhale, left hand to right knee, repeat the other side. So reach for the toes behind the back. Inhale, lengthen through the body, and as you exhale, see if you can deepen that twist. Remember to keep both sit bones grounded into the heels. Belly to spine as you lengthen. Exhale, a little bit of deepening of the twist. 2 more breaths. Inhale, come back to center, reach the arms up over the head. Just grab hold of opposite elbows and press the head back into the forearms. You can sit back into the hips here. Just feeling that opening through the shoulders. Inhale, reach high, swap it over. Go the uncomfortable way. A little bit of shoulder opening, nothing too intense to start with. Release the hands down by the side body. I want you to take this left hand behind the back body, interlace the fingers, draw the right elbow back in space. We're going to drop our head over towards our right shoulder. So you're going to be feeling the stretch down this side of the neck, and that should feel quite nice. You're using a little bit of a grip here to pull that hand around and draw the shoulder, that left shoulder, away from the ear. 2 more breaths here. Sink the hips back towards the heels so you're not bending into the back body. Breathe. Release your right hand down to the earth. Plant that hand. Inhale, left up and over the head. Sink the hips into the heels as you reach that arm up and over. Gaze towards the fingertips. So we want to try not to sink into this right hand side of the body, but use the hand to lift you up and away. Sink the hips back down to the earth and really feel a lovely opening down the left side of the body. 2 more breaths here. As you inhale, lengthen those fingertips away, and as you exhale, see if you can surrender a little deeper into that space. As you drop the hips down, draw the belly into the spine and feel that lengthening going into the back body just a little. Inhale, come back to center. Let's repeat that on the other side. We're going to take our right hand this time behind our back. Interlace our fingers, draw the left elbow back and drop the head to the left. So feeling that lovely stretch down the right side of the neck, drawing the shoulder down and away from the ear. 2 more breaths here. Inhale's creating a little length, and the exhale finds you surrendering into that space that you create. See that you can find a little state of relaxation there. I know that's a challenge, right? Drop your left hand down towards the mat. Inhale the right arm up and over. Press your right hip into your right heel and lengthen through the right side body. Gaze to the fingertips. Keep breathing. Inhale for length. Exhale, surrendering a little deeper into the space. I'm really feeling this, even though I've already done a pretty intense practice this morning, I'm still feeling this into my side body, which is wonderful. Inhale and come back through center. We're going to take the left arm across the chest, stretching into the shoulder. Draw the belly into the spine and see if you can lengthen up through the back body. And taking it over to the other side, so taking the right arm across. Giving yourself a little shoulder stretch here. This time we're coming up and over with that elbow. This is everyone's favorite tricep stretch, right? So what we're going to do is get this right hand between the shoulder blades. Now that might not be easy for everyone, so wherever you are, just try and straighten yourself up. Use the hips into the heels. And just with each inhale breath, lengthen through the back body, and as you exhale, see if you can surrender that hand down and find that little space. I'm just going to turn around between the shoulder blades, just here. So even if you're just here for the moment, inhale and lengthen through the back body, and then as you exhale, just try and find your way towards your shoulder blades. Make your way there. It's like a little journey. It doesn't matter if you're right in the center or if it's a work in progress. And if you're right in the center and you're feeling, not feeling too much in this stretch, you can activate the head into the forearm and press it back just a little. Exhale, release. Let's do that on the other side. So the left hand is going down the back and the right hand is grabbing the left elbow. Inhale creates a little length. Exhale allows you to surrender into the space, reaching between the scapula, stretching into the tricep. Feels quite good actually. We're going to swap it over, and this time we're going to do those opposites. So the right arm's coming up and over the head, and the left hand is reaching behind to grab a hold of the fingers. If this is not available to you, you can grab a strap, a belt, a tea towel. I love a good tea towel. Flip that from the top hand down to the bottom, and then you can start working your way together. So this might be you today, that's okay. Gradually, breath by breath, you're going to bring the fingertips to meet each other, opening up a little into the heart space and into the shoulders as well. So you might find that there's a little back arch here. See if you can take that arch out of the spine by drawing the belly in towards the spine, sinking the hips into the heels. And you're actually going to try and knit those floating ribs together. Exhale and release. Let's try the other side. So inhale the arm up over the head. Find a little length there. Now this is my challenging side. I can still reach the fingertips, but like everyone, it's not always easy on both sides. So you might have a side that's slightly more friendly than the other. Sink the hips back into the heels. If you're using the strap, use the inhale breath to find a little length, and as you exhale, see if you can walk those hands a little closer together. 2 more breaths here, yogi friends. Inhale, creating a little length, and the exhale, just allowing you to find a little space or surrender into that space. Inhale, exhale and release. Take a few rolls of the shoulders here. So it feels nice. And then we'll go in the other direction, shrugging the shoulders up and forward, creating those little circles. So I'm just going to turn side on for you. I want you to interlace the hands behind the back. We're going to take Kali Mudra. So Kali Mudra is that yogi gun that we create. So my 4 fingers are pointing towards the earth. I'm going to start to squeeze my shoulder blades together and draw my fingers away from my hips. So I'm creating a little length in the cervical spine here, squeezing the scapula or my shoulder blades together and walking my hands away from my butt. My head stays in a fairly neutral space, crown of the head reaching high, still creating length through the back body, but opening up into this heart space, so across the chest. Because we're always doing things like this, forward, rounding through, we create what's called kyphosis, which is that rolling forward of the shoulders. So in order to change that outcome, we're going to open up and go in the other direction with Kali Mudra, a squeeze of the shoulder blades, and that neutral space for the neck. If you're feeling quite good here, you can take an inhale breath and gaze towards the sky. Take another 2 breaths. Inhale, come back through center. Release the hands. Take the arms up over the head. Interlace the fingers. And I just want you to rest the hands on the back of the head. From here, allow the chin to draw into the chest and just feel the weight of the hands on the head. Don't apply any pressure, so I don't want you pulling the head forward. Just feel the weight of the hands and the weight of the head, which is actually the heaviest part of our body, stretching into the cervical spine, our neck. Belly to spine, lengthen through the back body on the inhale, and as you exhale, you can even close the eyes down. Feel the weight of the hands on the head, the stretch into the neck. Inhale, lift the head, release the hands, and this time I want you to bring the hands to the toes. And you can lean back into the palm of the hand, pressing into the toes, squeezing the shoulder blades together, opening through the heart space. Tucking the chin into the throat to start with. This is a lovely squeeze for the shoulders, opening up into the heart. You can take an inhale breath if you're feeling good. Gaze in and up, all the way over until you're looking at the back of the room. Just breathe here for 3 or 4 breaths. You can stay longer if you like. Inhale the chin back to the chest and come all the way up to seated, releasing the hands. So that was like a little mini back bend. It was like a supported variation of camel, but without all that opening into the hips. We're just focusing on the chest and the throat chakra. So we're going to come back in the other direction now. And this pose is called Sasangasana, or rabbit pose. And it's a really beautiful one for opening through the back and particularly into the cervical spine. Now, if you have a neck injury and you're not doing headstand, rabbit pose can be a really great space to start. It's an inversion, so the head's below the heart, below the hips. So you're going to get all of the benefits of the inversion, activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, and you're going to feel quite good in this space. If you do have a neck injury, what I'm going to suggest is that as we go through the instructions, I'm going to ask you to grab hold of the heels. So as you do that, I want you to not apply too much pressure to the crown of the head. And you will find that there's a little tuck and that the head's obviously touching the earth. But if you grab hold with the heels, grab hold of the heels with the hands, and you draw the shoulders down and back, you're actually going to take the weight out of the head, but still feel that beautiful stretch through the neck and spine. So for Sasangasana, we're starting in Hero's Pose. So if you were in Sukhasana, come and join me in Hero's Pose. And the hips are on the heels. So we're going to take our hands, turn them down, and reach around and grab hold of the heels. So I'm just going to turn back so that you can see my hand placement. So the hands are actually grabbing hold from the inside of the arch for the heels. From here, we're going to sit back into the hips, tuck the chin into the throat, and roll forward. So I'm going to turn side on again, yogis. Don't be moving around while you're doing this pose, while you're doing this shape. Stay in the one spot, yeah? So again, my hands are gripping my heels. I'm going to tuck my chin into the throat and sink down into the hips. And I'm going to roll vertebrae by vertebrae through my back body until the crown of my head is touching the floor. So this might be enough for some people. You're going to start to feel a stretch firstly through the lumbar and then through the thoracic, the mid-spine and the thoracic spine, and eventually into the shoulders and into the neck as well. So the next step here is to grab a hold of those heels, take an inhale breath and lift up.
So you can see where you would want to place some weight onto the head. But if you grab hold of those heels and pull the shoulders away, you'll actually lift the head up off the floor, so there's just a touch of the crown chakra onto the earth. We don't want to squash our 1,000-petal lotus, right? So as you inhale, you're drawing the belly in towards the spine and arching all the way through the back body. So it's like a really big cat stretch. Shoulders away from the ears. And as you come out, you're going to bring the hips to the heels and roll vertebrae by vertebrae all the way back to seated. Rest the hands on to the thighs and just sit here for a few rounds of breath. So Sasangasana or rabbit pose can be a really beautiful intense stretch, particularly if you've just come out of a back bending stretch, working your way forward into this beautiful space, curling in the other direction and getting that lovely expansion of the spine and all the way into the cervical spine too. As I mentioned, it's an inversion where the head is below the heart and it's below the hips, so you're getting all the beautiful benefits that you would if you were in headstand or handstand or even plow and shoulder stand. So we're going to do Sasangasana one more time. This is one of those shapes that's really nice to repeat a second time. You get that first round of opening, and then in the second go at it, you're going to get a little deeper into the shape. But my word of advice here is to go gently into this space. Don't rush it, and when you get down into the shape, don't move the head, so don't go to look sideways. Make sure that you keep the spine in alignment here. So we're reaching around and grabbing a hold of the heels. Take an inhale breath. As you exhale, sink back into the hips, tuck the chin into the throat, and start to roll forward. As the head hits the earth, take an inhale breath and lift the hips towards the sky. So if your knees have escaped your head or your forehead, you can gently walk them in. Engage the hands into the feet, lift the shoulders away, and start to find that lovely expansion of the spine. Don't forget to breathe. 2 more breaths here. And when you're ready to come out, sinking the hips to the heels and rolling vertebrae by vertebrae all the way back up to seated. The head is the last thing to come up. The eyes look forward, hands rest. And here we are. So our next pose is a variation of child's pose, and it's just to continue with our opening into the shoulders. So I've just opened my knees ever so slightly towards the edge of my mat. I'm going to place my hands down and start to walk the hands forward, bringing the chest down towards the earth and the forehead to the mat. So I'm finding length underneath my arms here, so opening into the shoulders and relaxing the heart down towards the earth. The forehead and the nose pressing into the mat, and my hips drawing back to the heels, so I'm feeling some length into my spine. So if you have a block handy, that can be nice. Otherwise, you can interlace the fingers, and we're just going to bring the block over the head. So if you're doing this, you can do this with your hands in Namaskar. So pressing the hands into prayer and bringing the hands back towards the head if you don't have a block available for you. What the block does is just creates a little bit more opening in the shoulder. Different shape, different space. Wherever you are, taking another 3 rounds of breath. The inhale creating length and the exhale allowing you to draw a little deeper. Last round of breath. Release your block or your hands back to the earth. Turn the hands, palms down, and gently walk yourself back to center. Bring the knees together and turn around to face you. Just going to do one more stretch here, which is our Garudasana or eagle arms. So taking the arms out to the side, we're going to wrap this left hand underneath the right. So crossing at the elbows and creating a really big bind. So nice and juicy, right? So if your hands aren't in prayer, and mine certainly aren't, you can interlace the fingers and find that bind. Draw the belly into the spine and bring the elbows down. Now you might not be here. You might still be working on grabbing hold of the forearm, or you might even still be in this space here, which is perfectly okay. But we're going to work towards opening up through the back body and finding that bind wherever you get to. And each time, just making adjustments, being a yogi explorer and finding your way into the shape. You might not get it the first time round, that's perfectly okay. Everything's a work in progress and you're exactly where you need to be right in this very moment. Remember, it's your practice, it's your body, and everybody's body is different. So I'm going to inhale the elbows away from the chest. And so what this does, before when we were interlacing the hands behind the back, we're squeezing the shoulder blades together. Now we're creating space between the scapula. I'm going to take another inhale breath and lift the hands towards the sky. 2 more rounds of breath here. Breathing space in between the scapula. Breathing into the back body. 1 more round of breath. We're going to release the hands down. Just give them a little bit of space here. Let the blood flow back into where we cut it off in the bind. And we're going to take the right hand underneath the left this time. Giving that nice wrap wherever you are in the space. You might like to interlace the fingers to draw the shoulders down and see if you can even up the shoulders. So if you've got one up here, maybe have a look in a mirror or feel your way into the space. Sometimes I find it really helpful. The next instruction is to inhale, lift the elbows or the shoulders, lift the elbows away from the chest, sink the hips down, create that space between the scapula. Sometimes I find it really helpful to video my practice. And I don't do this for vanity's sake, I do it because it's really interesting. Sometimes when you feel like you're doing something, if you video it and have a look back at it, you go, oh, look at where I feel like I'm even, but look at where my shoulder is. Or I feel like, you can see that I'm sinking into my right hip here. I feel like I'm even, but if I move back, and I can see that in the video footage that I'm shooting for you, that I need to move my body weight slightly to the left. Then I can even up my shoulders and sink back. 2 more breaths here, Yogi Bears. Exhale and release. Take the hands down to the earth. Now, this is our last posture and it's going to be a little bit of a resting space. So if you have a block or a bolster, the block should be on the medium height and that's going to land between our scapula. And I'm going to set my other block up here and that's going to rest my head. So I'll demonstrate that shape first. Elongation of the legs. That block between the scapula and the head resting here. I'm just going to take my arms out to the side. And this is going to be my Shavasana, not so Shavasana-ish. So I can lift the head here, gently elongate the cervical spine and tuck the chin into the chest. You can also take Baddha Konasana here. And you can stay in that shape. So that's if you've got blocks. You can also replace the blocks with towels or books or anything that you've got available for you. It's going to give you a little bit of support through the shoulder. So the other alternative here is to use a bolster. So if you've got a blanket, you can roll that up, pull that blanket right up to your buttski and lay back into the bolster. I love this pose, hey? So restful. So take an inhale, reach the arms up and away, exhale the arms down to the earth. Put your favorite relaxation track on. And if you'd like to take a Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana or recline to butterfly, you can bring the soles of the feet together and you can hang out here in this Shavasana, not Shavasana. Yogi dares, take as much time as you like lying here and enjoying the blissed out state of your neck and shoulders. And I will see you on the next tutorial. Namaste.